Sounds of Philly. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today is a really exciting video because a lot of people have been contacting me about making a video like this. So if you're gonna make your dreams come true. Before I get into today's video, just remember to hit that little red subscribe button and also that bell right next to it. That way you will get notified whenever I post my new videos so you don't have to keep checking back. So what I wanted to talk about today is the menstrual cup. I've been on my zero waste journey for about a year now. If I'm being honest, this one thing was something that I was really struggling with doing. It intimidated me, I was scared of it, didn't really know how to use it, so I just avoided it all around and I kept using tampons. And then I went to the beach this summer and the only thing in my trash can were the tampons, and I was just like, oh my god, like, Kristen, really? Like, you have to make this change. I bit the bullet, I went out, I got a menstrual cup, and I just had my first experience with it. A lot of you guys have been asking me questions, so I'm definitely gonna get into those, but before I get into the questions and answer all of those, I wanted to kind of tell you about my first experience with the menstrual cup. So I was actually absolutely terrified of it. I will say, the first time, like, inserting it, it wasn't that bad. I just had no idea if it, like, opened up. So that was kind of weird, but after my, like, second try, I, like, totally had it down. And then taking it out was really strange the first time as well. But it's really easy. It has really helped my cramping, and it honestly has been extremely helpful for my flow, which I read about that. I read that, like, the amount of tampons that you use is a little excessive, and like the amount of bleeding that tampons make you think you're doing, it's not actually the amount of blood that you're producing and whatever. So yeah, my biggest concern was, I was like, okay, well, like, I have a pretty heavy flow. What am I gonna do with this? Because I heard that you can leave it in for like 10 or 12 hours. So first day, I went ahead, I put it in, 10 or 12 hours later, I took it out, and I was like, oh my god, I was like amazed by how little was in the cup. And I was like, wow, these like theories that I've been reading are actually true. It severely helped my cramping, and it really was awesome. And it just, I could go about my day without having to worry about it, which was one of the huge positive factors to it. The one thing that I will say that I struggled with at first, which you have to give yourself time to do, so don't get discouraged, is taking it out. Taking it out was a little strange. I kind of had to mess around with it every single time. The first time I tried to take it out, I literally pulled it by this little tab and just kind of pulled it out. Which was a little painful. So the second time around, I was talking to people and I was reading about it, and it's basically what you do is pull on this little tab, and then you kind of squeeze the menstrual cup. That way it kind of folds, so it's less painful to take out. But I will say, I've totally gotten it down. I've only used it for like a couple of days and I already had it down. So don't get discouraged if you're using it the first couple times and you're like, what is this thing? So all in all, my first experience, it went really, really well. I really love it, and I don't know why I didn't make the change sooner. It has seriously helped my cramping, it has helped my flow, and it really has made my day-to-day life so much easier because I don't even have to worry about it throughout the day. So now I wanted to get into a couple of your guys' questions that you had for me. I got so many questions, so I'm just kind of trying to lump them all into like maybe a few. That way this video isn't like 20 minutes long. But I wrote them all down for you. That way it's easier for me to kind of remember what the heck I'm talking about. This one that I got was, I need a full explanation. Don't worry, girl, I got you in this entire video, all these questions I'm answering and my experience. I hope this gave you your full explanation. So, okay, one of the first questions that I did get was, what is a Diva cup? And a Diva cup is a menstrual cup. And it's basically replacing wasteful tampons and pads, and it's a reusable cup that you insert and it catches your blood. And when you take it out, you just essentially pour the blood into a sink, rinse it out, and then reinsert it. So it's basically like a reusable period product. One of the questions that I got was, how is it sanitary? Because I'm reusing it constantly, which is like a really great question, because that's the one where I was like, yeah, how is this sanitary? The first thing I did when I bought it was you boil it in hot water for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you let it sit to cool off, and then you're good to go to insert it. What I'll say is, every single time that you are finished with your cycle, go ahead and boil it for 5 to 10 minutes. If you're really scared about it being too dirty or anything like that, just go ahead and boil it 5 to 10 minutes like every day. It's just whatever your comfort level is, but that's how you clean them. So a really good question I got was, can you feel it when it is getting inserted? And the answer is yes. The first couple of times that I tried inserting it, it was a little strange and I kind of wasn't doing it right. So it's just really trial and error. And now that I've gotten the hang of it, you really don't feel it too much. And once it's in there, it's in there. Which leads me to another question. Does it leak if it's not sitting in properly? And how do I know that it isn't properly? So this was like really hard for me at first. The first time I inserted it, I was like, how do I know this thing is in correctly? So I was talking to a couple people that do use it, and what they recommend is kind of like inserting it halfway while it's folded and then letting it go, and you will feel it. Like you will literally feel it open, and then you just kind of like guide it right in. That way you're not like inserting it while it's like completely like crumbled and you don't know if it like popped open. The menstrual cup essentially acts as like a suction cup. It's going to like basically suction itself up there, and that is kind of how you know. Like you can take your fingers and pull on that little tab, and if it's like suctioned in there, then you know that it is completely open. And getting to the question of, is there leakage if it is not in properly? Yes, you will have leakage if it is not in properly, but if it is in properly, I haven't seen any. I used it this whole week and I didn't have any type of leakage whatsoever. I love this question because this is one of my, I was so terrified of this. They said, I want to get one, but I'm so scared. What if I can't get it out? But you can. Okay, so the first time I went to take it out, I thought it was gonna be as easy as taking out a tampon, and it's actually not. It does take a little bit more of, you know, like maneuvering and pulling out, but it does come out, I promise you that. Essentially, you just kind of have to pull on this little tab, and then once it's about halfway out, you just kind of squeeze the menstrual cup with your fingers. That way it kind of folds in, so it's not so painful taking out. Another one I got was, does it spill when you're taking it out? And the answer is no. It does not spill at all. Honestly, if you're doing it over a toilet and it does spill out a little bit, then it's not a big deal. But from my experience, I have not spilled it or anything like that, and it just kind of comes right out, sitting right side up. This question that I got, I really like because it's, how messy is it and is it easy to use in public? So I haven't had to use it in public yet, but I will say you can wear it for 10 to 12 hours. So I would just plan it around your day, you know, like before you leave for the day, make sure, you know, you rinse it, you clean it out and reinsert it. That way you're good for like 10 to 12 hours. And if you are in public and you do need to, you know, change it or something like that, or empty it out, then what I would recommend is if you have to use a public bathroom, then use a public bathroom that has like a stall with a sink in it. That way you can rinse it. Or just try to work it around your day to where you're using it when you're at home, before or after when you leave. Next question, how do I know when it is full? Well, I feel like it kind of works the same as like a tampon. Like, how do you know when your tampon's full? You just kind of know. You can feel it. A lot of people ask me, is it comfortable? And the answer is yes. It's going to be extremely comfortable. You're not going to feel it at all if it is in correctly. The first time I inserted it, I didn't insert it quite far enough, so it kind of feels like, you know, when you put a tampon in and like it's not in all the way. That's the exact way it felt. I will say, like, once it's up there, it literally feels like as if you have a tampon up there. Like, you do not feel it at all, which is like what I was really nervous about, and I was so glad once I used it that I was like, oh my god, I don't even feel it at all. One last question that I wanted to go over was, how do you insert it? So I would say the best way to insert it is take the menstrual cup and then you're gonna fold it. That way it makes it a little bit smaller. And you're gonna go ahead and put it in about like halfway. And then once it's halfway, you'll kind of like let it go and it'll essentially like sort of pop open. You'll feel it. And then you can like insert it the rest of the way. That way you know that it's actually open. So I think that's the best way to insert it. It makes it so much easier. So those are some of like the basis of the questions that I got. I got so many different versions of these questions. So if I didn't answer your specific question today, please let me know in the comments below, or DM me on like my Instagram or my website, which I do have linked below as well. I really hope this video was informative to you, and I really hope that it helps you, because I was one of those people that was like absolutely terrified of using this thing, and I'm so glad I made the switch, and I'm so glad I'm going to save on all the tampons and or pads, you know, that I was using before, and now I just have this little guy that is reusable and I can use it for years on end and save so much money. That's what I'm most excited about, is saving all of this money and also saving our planet. But yeah, you guys, I really highly recommend making the switch. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. I'm here to be honest, I'm here to be real, I'm here to let you know what was good, what was bad about it. Because I want everybody to feel comfortable using it, and I want everybody to realize that like we can all do this and it's not as scary as it looks, because it is pretty intimidating. I mean, look at this thing. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. Thank you guys again for joining me today, and hopefully I'll see you again next week.